for this week's Two Works for You in the Garden segment. Taft talks with our garden expert Paul James about how your plants will come back from the dead.
Good morning, welcome back to In the Garden. Paul and Taft here. You know what, Paul? Earlier in the week, I sent you a text, went out in the backyard, looked at my nandinas, and it looked like a 3-foot rabbit had eaten half of them. What's going on here?
Well, there is a new species of 3-foot rabbit in this area.
I don't ever want to meet it, though, if that's what it is.
No, look, I mean, this is a perfect example of things that look dead but aren't.
Oh, okay.
Okay? This is just that time of year where a lot of landscape plants take a hit. Okay, we had really warm weather in much of December, and then all of a sudden the bottom fell out and we were in single digits. So as a result, a lot like this spirea here, you know, it
doesn't look good, does it?
It looks dead. It's perfectly fine. It's going to bounce back. It's going to be great. Same with this hypericum, the roses over here. All this stuff, as bad as it looks, is dependably hardy and will bounce back and be beautiful come spring. Hard to imagine now.
Wow, yeah, it looks terrible at this point.
So you don't need to be doing any pruning necessarily. Boxwoods are another one that, you know, they're getting brown, they get tip burn. The part of the problem is we haven't had really cold winters in a number of years, so people get used to things, you know, not looking like this.
Yes.
But you get that warm weather, then the abrupt cold, and these leaves linger. They're on Japanese maples. A lot of oak trees still have their leaves on them because they never had that chance to transition from fall into severe winter.
Okay.
So thankfully we didn't get a lot of ice, because when the leaves are on those trees and the ice comes, that's really bad.
So basically what you're saying is most people, when they see something like this, they probably panic a little bit and think, I've got to do something. Me, I just text you with a picture and you tell me what to do. But they would probably panic and say, what do we need to water this more, whatever. You're telling us, what should we do with these?
You know, the moisture has actually been great lately.
It has been.
And more on the horizon. So that's a wonderful thing, because we get that soil moisture and these plants love that. That will help them get through the cold temperatures. So yeah, I mean, it's another one of those shows where I'm not really telling you much, except that no need to worry, because virtually all this stuff is going to come back and be just fine.
All right, Paul, I'm looking at this Heatherbun Atlantic White Cedar. That looks beautiful. This does not look beautiful.
This is a great plant. Love this thing, but this is what it does in winter.
Okay.
It looks dead.
Yeah, unbelievable.
But no, it's gorgeous green in the spring, summer, and fall. This is just what happens during the winter months. And then here's another one. This is an arborvitae called Fire Chief. I love this plant. And again, it looks like, oh my goodness, I might want to dig that up and plant something else in its place. But that's its look, and I actually find it to be very attractive. And as you dig down in there, you can see, you know, it's got nice green growth there and all that. So it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
Don't overreact.
All right, Paul, earlier you were talking about the Japanese maples and how some of them, many of them, are still holding on to their leaves.
Yes, this is a Tomukayama. And again, because it wasn't able to transition smoothly, then the leaves are still on here. It's not a bad thing. And if you want to come in and defoliate these, that's fine. I think typically that's for people with way more time on their hands.
Yeah, if you have a couple hours, you can take care of this one.
That won't hurt it.
Okay.
But I wanted to go out by showing you this Japanese maple. This is the coral bark, appropriately named.
Yes.
And it has lost all its leaves. And look at what that offers in the dead of winter, a magnificent color.
Yeah, you always talk about evergreens giving us that color in the wintertime. Here's just another example, and it'll contrast with all the colors that we have out there.
Yeah, and you put that especially with some evergreens or up against a light colored house, it's just gonna look like it's plugged in.
Wow, yeah, it's a beautiful one indeed. So what you're telling us is we've got to keep her cool here in the wintertime, not get all excited about our plants, just kind of see what happens in the spring, and then once we get to the spring itself and we see these come up, if there is one that's dead, what should we do? Obviously pull it up at that time?
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that when that time comes.
When spring comes, yeah.
That'll give us one segment for spring.
One segment, all right, at least we know what we're doing later on. Later on, all right.